Hi, I'm Gabriela Cortez, Show Me the Way practitioner and continuous student. Hi, and welcome to week 6. For this week, you're going to need your entire Show Me kit. Make sure you have both models, picture cards, word cards, your journal or notebook where you've been keeping track of your progress. And for a little something extra at the end, make sure you have your own copy of the Tao book, which is available for purchase in the Show Me shop. You can either print it out or just have it handy on your phone or any electronic device. Let's get started. Welcome to week 6, or as this week we'd like to call the summary. So what we're going to do for the summary is first let me move my spider model out of the way, bring in my emotions map and my journal here. And I have my 5 original word and picture cards that I had from week 5. And if you remember what we did in week 5 is that we had taken our original cards and we shuffled them around and kind of wrote out the sentences and gave like a little summary of them in what we called our receiving mode. And then the homework was to shuffle them again and again each day for a certain amount of days and write it out. So let's go into my notebook or your notebook and let's take a look. So I had done 5 days. I had done 5 days where I took the 5 cards and shuffled them and wrote out my sentences. Now this is what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at each of the words in each of the sentences, and we're going to see how often they came out, and more importantly, if they came out repeated. Any repeated word that was repeated more than the others, we're going to make a note of it. So for example, let's start. For joy becomes peace when I'm inspired to be mastery. Mastery was the card I got last time. Then I got mastery again. Then I got reflection. Then I got service. And then I got reflection. Okay, so 2 words got repeated the equal amount of time. If I had gotten mastery 3 times and reflection twice, it would have been just mastery. But I got mastery twice and I got reflection twice. So what that means is that the words that were kind of like the chosen words for the summary is going to be mastery and reflection. And the way we're going to do that is I'm going to write out my sentence again. So joy comes peace. That's how I write it. To do it that way. When I'm inspired to be mastery reflection, because I got them both, mastery reflection. So that's going to be my summary sentence. Joy becomes peace when I'm inspired to be mastery reflection. And now we can take a moment to kind of like think about what that means to me. This is the time where we start looking into the sentences and what the messages are behind them. So the same thing we did the other weeks. This time I got something a little bit more complex because I got 2 words instead of 1. That might seem a little difficult for some, or it might be very clear to others. It all depends on how the messages come towards you. Let's see, just to go over quickly, because this is just a quick tutorial. When I'm inspired to be mastery reflection. If I want to think about this mastery reflection, what is the message here? Joy becomes peace when I'm inspired to be mastery reflection. Well, first I can think about what my concept of mastery is. Maybe, to do something to the best of the ability, to do something great. And then when I think of reflection, for me, my thought of reflection before was kind of like another part of me, maybe the kind of person I'd want to be, another side of me, a reflection of like my better self. So perhaps the sentence is saying, joy will become peace when I'm inspired to be like the best version of the other self, my reflected self that I want to be. I think that's a really cool message for me this week. So that can happen, that you will get 2 cards in one. If it's a little harder for you to kind of think what that means, just do what I do. You can go into your cards. So I got Mastery, Reflection. So that's Mastery. That's Reflection. And, you know, this is another fun thing you can do. You can kind of like look at these cards again and think, well, you know, Mastery, Reflection, you know, go back and think, what does mastery mean? You know, what does the card mean to you? Like, that's why it's always good to kind of look at the pictures as well. If you kind of need a refresher as to what the word means to you, what it's trying to say, you can go to your picture card, you can take a look at it again, see what it means, and, you know, do the same for the other one, and then try to make the connection. I made the connection of mastery, of kind of like, you know, spider creating this web, you know, creating something great, and then the reflection, you know, showing basically the same version, but it's a different version, you know, another side of me, and then put those together and see what it's trying to say, you know, mastery, reflection. So it's interesting that this came off right off the bat. It doesn't usually happen where you get 2 in 1, but it's good that it came out so I could show you this example of what happens in case you get more than 1 card that gets repeated. So let's move on to the next sentence. So for worry and acceptance, I got service, service again, oof, service 3 times, suffering, and mastering. Okay, well, clearly service won because I got it 3 out of the 5 times. So my word is going to be service. So worry becomes acceptance when I'm devote to my acting service. Now, there's something interesting here I want to mention. I had service at the beginning here, and it looks like in my summary, I got service again. I want to make a note that, again, when that happens, when you seem to get the same card in the same sentence or spot, there's kind of multiple ways to see it. One is that the cards are trying to tell you that there's something you still don't see yet in the sentence, meaning maybe there's something you haven't picked up on, a message that still needs to come through. The other thing could be is that it's a sentence that has a prime position in your life right now, you know, something that's really kind of involved in your everyday's actions, like something that's been with you. So either way, it's to take note that this is something important that it wants you to really focus in on, to really understand. So it's asking me to really focus on the fact that worry becomes acceptance when I'm devote to my acting service. There also can be some times where like we listen to messages and we kind of, even if we understand them, we may not like what they're trying to say. So we say, yeah, I get it, but I don't kind of want to do that. Maybe sometimes they come back as they're saying, we know you understand, but you're not really accepting. You need to accept. So maybe this one's saying when I'm devote to my acting service, acting service. Well, I don't necessarily like to serve unless it's just for myself. But maybe that's it. Maybe, you know, I'm constantly worried about not being able to be at one with myself, you know. But really, are the things that I'm doing with my life, are the things that I'm working on, you know, am I focusing on the right kind of service? You know, am I working onto a service that's, when I'm devoted to my acting service, a service that's really going to work towards my feeling of being at one with myself? Am I doing the right kind of service? Am I devoting myself to the right kind of service? You know, maybe I'm not. Maybe this kind of service I'm doing is just very superficial and selfish. And I worry too much about what I'm going to get out of the work I do, when really I should just kind of let go to the service I do, to the works I do on a daily basis, and stop focusing so much on what I can get out of it and just accept, the work that comes my way or what I have to offer. And maybe that can make me close to at one with myself. Well, that's a way to see it. So we won't go in depth for my spider model for all of these. If you would like to kind of see like what I'm doing here in action, remember you can always watch one of the other videos, the live session videos. Actually, that being said, I'm in one of those videos working on the same model. So if you would like to see a full live session where we really dive into the messages of what the cards bring, you definitely can watch the live session videos between me and Kinere, and you can enjoy and learn and see how we go through each of the different kind of receiving modes and summaries, and see how I dive into the meaning of each one. They're really fascinating. So we don't need to do that here with all of them. I'm just kind of showing you how the work is done. But we will keep going with the other ones just to like reinforce what the homework is here. So let's see. For Sanus Integrity, I got creative, reflection, mastery, reflection, creative. Okay, so I got reflection and creative the same amount of time, I believe. Creative 1, 2, reflection 1, 2. So those are going to be my two cards, and the order they're going to go in is which one came first. So creative came first, creative, reflection. So my sentence will be sadness, integrity, when I value and let go of my creative reflection. Kind of running into the space here. Sadness becomes integrity when I value and let go of my creative reflection. That'll be something really fun to decipher. And then we got feel wisdom, suffering, suffering, mastery, and suffering. All right, suffering it is. So here comes wisdom. When I trust and persist to achieve my suffering. Okay. Something for me to look into. And then the last one. Anger becomes compassion. I got reflection, creativity, service. So creativity is the one for me. Anger, compassion. When I forgive my struggle with creativity. Sorry, I'm laughing. It's just that sentence already makes a lot of sense to me. So I enjoy that. When I forgive my struggle with creativity. See, already there's this understanding of what the sentence is trying to say, and it's already coming up. So hopefully you'll be getting those kind of responses too. Now, one thing that didn't pop up here, but that could pop up. Sometimes, especially if you only do it a certain amount of times, like maybe you do it like only 3 days, or even sometimes you do it 5 days, there is a chance that you will get every card within a sentence equally, meaning none of them will repeat. Now, what do you do when none of the cards repeat and you get a completely different card for each day? Well, there's kind of two options. One, you can look at all the words you got, and fit them all into the sentence. All the words have something to teach you within that sentence. That is one option. The other option, especially if you've already gone for like the 5 days, what I like to do is if you got one in each, I like to go through the 5, shuffle them up, and kind of pick up what I call like a tiebreaker. And whatever card you pick up is going to be obviously a repeat because of the 5. You do a pull a 6th time, you're going to get a repeat, and then that can be your card to put in a sentence. You can really choose to go either way. Obviously, one is more complicated than the other. Well, I don't want to say complicated. One just makes you kind of like think a little more, has little more messages to add all the cards. But if that's not the way you want to do it, just pull one extra out to create a tiebreaker, and you can do it that way. So that is really the work you're going to be doing for this week, is this summary, which was finding your kind of like main cards and putting them into your sentences and seeing what it is, the messages that they're trying to tell you. So once you do that, what is it you do for your next week? Easy. You take your cards, the original ones, and you shuffle them back into your decks randomly. Yeah. So you can either take your picture or your word cards. And what you're going to do, just randomly shuffle. Okay. And once you're done your shuffling, you are going to pick out 5 brand new cards. And I say brand new, but you never know. You might actually get one of your original cards repeated. And if you do, well, that's the way of the world. So I'm going to pick out 5 new random cards. Okay. And these are my 5 new words for the week. So what I'm going to do now also, because it helps out, is to find my matching picture cards with these. So let's go look for them. Okay, so now here are my new picture cards and word cards. And what I'm going to do for the week coming up, so going into my 7th week, is I'm going to do the exact same thing I did in the previous week. I'm going to write these out now, my sentences. And then each day for whatever next couple days until next week, I'm going to shuffle only these 5 cards around, just these 5s. I'm not going to do new ones. These are my cards for the week, and I'm going to shuffle them and write out the sentences exactly the same way I did last time. And then what we're going to do coming back next week, or at least what you're going to do, is you're going to do the exact same summary. You're going to check all your sentences and see which cards came up most often, whether they were repeated or not. You're going to use all the techniques you used today, and you're going to do that for next week. So remember before how I said to have a copy of the Tao book, the one that you can purchase and download from our Show Me the Way website store? You take that book and have it handy. And remember how after you do your sentences every day, you kind of close your eyes and shuffle through and pick out your one card of the day. So let's say I shuffled through and I picked arrogance for that day, the number 65. So what I'm going to do to get an extra message that day is not only recognize the card I got, but I'm going to go into my Tao book, which I have digitally on my phone, and I'm going to look through for chapter 65, because the chapters of the Tao are actually connected directly to the words placed in the Show Me game. It's where it came from. You can learn more about that with an in-depth study of Show Me. And you're going to read the message that's there, the Tao philosophy, kind of like the philosophical poem that's there. And it's really interesting to see how that chapter, which is connected to your card, has a message that's directly linked for you. So we did say to pick up the card per day before, but now we're asking you to elevate your experience one up by going to the Tao book, which is where all these cards and the whole game comes from. Connect your card with the philosophy within there, read it, and get the message from it. It's really exciting, and it's so beautifully written, and there's always like some really deep connected message to that. Okay, so at this point, you're kind of already in the Show Me the Way game. You have your 5 cards, you write out your sentences, you pull out your card of the day, you read your Tao message. You do this for however many days before your next session. You do your summary, you find your repeated words or your cards, you summarize your sentences with the messages, take all your cards, shuffle them back into the pile, and bring out 5 more for your next week. And you can do this for another 2 weeks, so week 7 and 8. And then on week 9, you can come back to do the end of the show me game, the kind of like final stage, which we won't go into now. You'll find out in the next video that will come out week 9. Or what you can do, and I highly suggest this, is you keep the game going until you go to week 11. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's 6 more rounds. And then on week 12, you can do the next final stage of the show me game. It's up to you. Either way works. Of course, there's a lot of benefits to be done to going the complete route to week 12, doing all the way like week 11, because there's so many different opportunities for messages to get through. And also if you find that there's still something you're not understanding, or there still isn't much clarity, or you feel like you're not really like getting more connected into your show me vision, then it actually helps to do this more weeks, because each cycle you go through is like another set at the gym. You know, it's another set of exercise. It's exercising and strengthening and building and flexing your brain muscles. So that's the whole point of going through these cycles over and over again each week, because the idea is that each week you're going to be getting new cards, new messages, new ways to kind of stretch out the brain. Like even for me, I've got this one that says, joy becomes peace when I'm inspired to be arrogance. Oh, this is going to be interesting, because usually people have a bad connotation with the word arrogance. I'm going to have to spend a little time studying, what is arrogance? Why is arrogance connected to this card? What does that mean to me? Why would this be arrogant? And what does arrogance mean to me? And why would it be something that I would need to be inspired by for joy to become peace? So that gives me an opportunity to see things in an even bigger way, a different way, to really stretch out my mind muscles. So if you find that like you're hitting up to like week 8 and you're still kind of not getting a lot of the answers you're looking for, or you still feel like there's some struggle, there's a message there, it probably is a good indication to keep going, add in some more cycles. But definitely when it comes to hitting week 12, you're going to be watching the next video and seeing what's going to come then. Until then, I hope you had a great session with yourself this week. I hope that you had some very interesting cards, and I wish you lots of luck and fun for the next weeks to follows. And this is a small little goodbye for now, because you're going to be doing all this work on your own. I have full faith that you'll be able to do it and get some great insight. So until then, have fun, and I'll see you next time.